I got this wrong. I need to correct something I recently said, both online and to people I know in person, because I did something that I think we all need to be much more careful about. That is believing something we see on the internet before we take the time to verify if it's true or not. So I recently saw claims that Sprouts was selling lab-grown milk, and I saw it a few different times. Then I saw a whole bunch of claims, tons of claims, that Sprouts was selling lab-grown meat in these meatballs that they were supposedly selling. It got so bad that I decided to boycott Sprouts. I had left it in a comment to Sprouts on Instagram, and I had told my family, and we were already in the process of boycotting Sprouts, because I'm a firm believer that we vote. Every time we spend a hard-earned dollar, we are casting a vote, and I'm very particular about where I choose to cast those votes. So I was originally going to make this video telling you why I was boycotting Sprouts, and as I dug in to get sources for the video, I realized it's just a viral rumor that is absolutely false. So like I said, I had initially seen a few times that Sprouts was selling lab-grown milk. I made sure I checked the label on the milk I buy. I was pretty sure it wasn't, and no, it wasn't. But I still saw that posting online from a couple different sources, a couple different times. But then the one about the lab-grown meat came, and it was just, I was seeing it multiple times every day for several days from all different sources. So at that point, I really did assume that it was true. They were all claiming the same thing, that they were selling these meatballs that had lab-grown meat in them. So the fact that there were so many sources saying it and that they were all saying the same thing is what made it seem very believable to me. And as I was looking for sources and realizing maybe this isn't true, I also saw Sprouts' own claim that they have put out trying to clear up the misinformation. So Sprouts actually states in their post, "Hi everyone, we're aware of a rumor that's been going around recently and we want to set the record straight. Sprouts does not sell lab-grown or cell cultivated meat of any kind. We never have. We invite you to visit one of our stores and see for yourself. We had conversations with a company called Mission Barns prior to 2026, but we decided not to carry their products. Unfortunately, there is information online that suggests otherwise, and it's just not true. We hold our meat suppliers and ranchers to strict quality standards that are better for people, animals, and the planet, like organic, grass-fed, regenerative, and antibiotic-free. We know that you count on us to feel good about the food you eat, and we take the trust you've given us very seriously. That's why we go well beyond industry standards to ensure you can always count on higher quality at Sprouts. If you'd like more information about our sourcing and quality standards, please visit," and they give you a website that you can visit to do that. But here's where it gets a little interesting. Psst. I wanted to interrupt your video for one quick moment and ask a big favor. YouTube is telling me that the majority of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel. So if that's you, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, I would love to ask you to consider subscribing. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button and consider sharing it with someone else who would enjoy it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Now back to your video. Correcting that misinformation about the lab-grown meat doesn't mean I suddenly have no concerns at all about what Sprouts carries. So going back to the claims that they sell the lab-grown milk, Sprouts does sell an animal-free dairy milk. It's from the brand Boycott, but it is clearly labeled as what it is. There's no deception happening, and I'm pretty sure that this is a good option for certain people with certain food issues. And that is what my channel is all about, is helping people cope with their food issues. So this may not be a product for me, but it certainly can be for someone else. And it's not technically lab grown. So Boycott uses milk protein that is made through precision fermentation. rather than getting the protein from a cow. The company, Boycott, describes this as animal-free dairy. So it's important to note here that this is not safe for someone with alpha-gal syndrome who cannot have anything from mammals. This is close enough to the real deal that they cannot have this. So traditional dairy, you have a cow that produces milk. The milk is processed somewhat and it goes to the consumer. In animal-free dairy, you start with microorganisms that go through a fermentation process that produces the milk protein, and then that protein is used to create a dairy-like milk. So is calling that lab-grown milk technically precise? That's debatable. It could be, it might not be. I'm not here to argue that point. It is an animal-free dairy product made using biotechnology rather than milk from a cow. Now, this is something I personally would never buy, but here's the thing. I don't have to prove that a product is bad for everyone in order for me to decide that I don't want to buy it personally. I really try to live a life and eat a diet that is just from real whole foods. I mostly buy just real whole foods and make my own foods. On occasions, yes, we buy a jar of mayonnaise with really clean ingredients, or we'll buy the healthy brand of potato chips with really minimal ingredients. Yes, I do occasionally buy those things and indulge in treats. But for the most part, I believe in just buying actual real whole foods straight from the source, as healthy as possible. So yes, I want my milk to come from a cow. I want to know where my food comes from. Where we've moved recently, there's a wonderful farmers market. There's fantastic local ranchers and farmers, and it's been a really great experience here so far. I really love living in that kind of culture. And what I buy in a store, I want transparency. There are certain food technologies that I do not want my hard-earned dollars voting for. But other people are free to make their own choices based on their preferences and their needs. But coming back to these viral rumors about the lab-grown meat, it is super important in this day and age to question everything we see on the internet. There's AI technology. On this very channel, I had someone steal my video and turn it into an AI ad at least twice that I know of. One of them had someone that looked somewhat like me, and the other one was my kitchen with a different person in it. So there's AI stuff all over the place that we need to be really careful about because it's getting better and better all the time, and it's getting harder to tell that it's AI. There are people who are just making outrageous claims, whether it's true or not, because they want people to watch. They want people to click and share, and they are making money off of that. And there are people with no morals who don't care how false it is. And I really hope we can get to a place where these people are held accountable and they can be sued for those things. That is really my hope. But in the meantime, we really need to question everything we see and at least take a few minutes to do some research and find out if it's true or not. Don't be like me, who once I saw it at least 10 or 15 or 20 times, assumed it's got to be true because it's all over the place. Everyone is saying it. And my other point is to look at the accounts that made those false claims and be a little wary. I pay a lot of attention to the accounts that I follow and how right on or not the things they share are over time. So I have some accounts where I'm like, they're always spot on. Like I trust them 100%. There are some where it's like, yeah, like 70, 80%, I trust them. And if they get to the point where it's very questionable, I usually just unfollow, unsubscribe. I don't continue there anymore. It's not worth my time if I have to keep questioning if it's even true or not. It's sort of a waste of my time, in my opinion. And so I am going to go back and take a look at any accounts I'm following that were making the false claims about sprouts. I am probably going to unfollow them because they didn't take the time to research before they made their own post. And I think that's even worse than just seeing something and assuming it's true. If you're actually making that post and making that claim, You have a responsibility to your viewers to do the research first, which is what I was doing for this video when I realized that those claims were completely false. So before you believe any claims on the internet, ask yourself a few questions. Number one, who is making the claim? Sometimes the claims are made just to hurt someone, damage their reputation, or make people, try to make the company go under. It could be a competitor company, or, this goes on in politics all the time. So always ask yourself, number one, who is making this claim? Number two, ask yourself, can I find the original source of this information? And we have the internet. I'm old. I grew up with no internet. Internet did not arrive until I was already an adult. So I know how hard it used to be to do research, but I did it on a lot of things. Even when I was in college, I had to do research without the internet initially. So we have it so easy nowadays to do a little research and see if you can find the original source of this information. Number three, does the company that they're talking about, or the company or the person or whatever they're talking about, do they actually say this about themselves? Number four, if you go to the company's website, can you actually find that product available from the company? Because I did that too. And no, they were not available. Number five, ask yourself, am I possibly confusing two different things? Sometimes when we see stuff from multiple sources, we kind of put it all together in our mind as we process it. And sometimes we do sort of mix wires and confuse things in our own brains. And then number six, ask yourself before you post anything, am I sharing something because it's actually true or because it confirms something I already believe or suspect? And that last one is particularly important. So I am a person of integrity, and I do my best to do research before I make my videos and put information out there. Am I perfect? No. Am I going to make mistakes sometimes? Yes. But I do put the work in, and I do work very hard. And I was willing to change my mind on this. I could have just doubled down. I could have ignored what I found because it didn't match what everyone else was saying, and it didn't fit the conclusion I had already reached and the video I was ready to make about why I'm boycotting Sprouts. But see, that's exactly what I'm telling you not to do. If I'm going to ask you to trust me, I have to be willing to correct myself when I get something wrong. I have to own it. Now, I didn't have to share it with everyone because I found this before I made the video, but I decided to share it to help people realize that we need to question everything we see and choose to believe in this day and age. So after doing this research, I still get to decide where I want to spend my hard-earned money and vote with my dollars. I am not saying that Sprouts is evil. Nobody should shop there. I get to choose if I want to shop there or not. And I might share why I'm making that decision, but that doesn't mean I'm telling other people what they need to do. Every time we spend money, we're supporting a business or a company that made a product, a supply chain, or a set of practices in some cases. I firmly believe that my hard-earned money is one of the most powerful votes I have as a consumer. And I wish more people understood this and chose wisely how they wanted to vote. You don't necessarily need to join a boycott movement, and you don't need everyone to agree with you to be able to do what you want with your money. You simply need to decide, is this something I want to support? And I see a lot of people who say, you can't get it all right. You can't boycott every little thing. No, you can't. But I do believe in the power of following your own convictions. And if one particular thing really moves you and affects you and makes you stop and think, I think you need to honor that conviction. And the fact that you can't do everything or see everything or know everything or boycott everything that needs to be boycotted, that doesn't mean you can't still be choosing where you're going to vote with your dollars. So ironically, this video started with me believing something I saw on the internet, and it ended with me realizing that I had needed to do more homework. And that's really the message I want you to take away from this video. Don't blindly believe me. Don't blindly believe anyone on Instagram. Don't blindly believe the viral Facebook post. Go and look for yourself. And once you've done your homework, then you get to decide where you're going to vote with your dollars. So I would love to know, do you vote with your dollars? And have you ever changed your mind about something after you dug in and did your research on it? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day and God bless you.